In theory, we are live because it says we are live.
Says we're live. Let's see. Let me go to X and see.
I do see us
I
live
I got a
on
notification
YouTube.
there. There we
Yep.
go. Okay.
I see us live on
to
YouTube.
repost it and quote.
Same. Greetings, everybody. What's happening? Okay, there's that. Done. Facebook. Yes, there we are. That one's live too. Okay.
This episode as we stream.
Yeah. Like I even have the recording starting. So yeah.
Nice.
We're in pre-show here, but we are ready to rock shortly.
Let me make sure that I get this brain show. Okay. This week's.
Yeah, you let me know when you're ready, and I'll get us rocking and rolling here.
I'm ready.
The episode. Okay,
that sounds great. Let's do it.
All righty, then there we are. It's gonna be that, and it's at the 1:20 start, and here we go. Business Brain, the show for entrepreneurs, episode 516 for Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take a few topics, we dissect them, we cogitate on them, we discuss them, so that every single one of us, me, him, you, all of us, get to tune our business brains together every single episode. Sponsors for this episode include Shopify.com/businessbrain, where you can sign up for a $1 per month trial, and Miro.com/podcast, where you get your first 3 Miro boards for free. We'll talk more about them in a little bit. For now, back here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And still here out in Lafayette, California, I'm Shannon Jean. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Yeah, I was out at CES. We'll talk about that, I think, on Friday's episode. But I'm back
here. That's awesome.
Man. Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
How was your week?
It was good. It was, it's interesting when we pre-record and I miss a week. It sometimes it's liberating. But other times I find myself kind of falling out of the routine of, I got to talk about this. I got to talk about, picking up topics, especially that I want to talk about. So, but I did have something come up this morning that I definitely wanted to chat about before we jump into the main meat.
The meat of the episode, which is made up of cockroaches and pig's blood. So
cockroaches and pig's blood today, which is going to be fascinating. It is relevant.
No, it is. It's
excuse me. So today I made one of the last tuition payments to my son's college. And I have 2 kids. My daughter's finished up. She went to school back in Manhattan and Marymount, Manhattan.
There you go.
So I'm thinking of points. That's where that comment came in. And then my kids. So when my kids went to go to school, I had them fill out a Google sheet and list the schools they wanted to go to, the cost associated with housing, tuition, the whole 9 yards. And I wanted them to
did exactly the same thing. This is you and I never talked about this. This is fascinating.
No. Yeah. And I wanted them to pitch the ROI on each school because I'm a huge ROI guy. What are we getting out of that? How long is that going to, what's the value in everything we spend $1 on? And one of the things that came about in that exercise, which I did not know before my kids went to college, was that which schools would allow you to pay your tuition with a credit card. And not only that, but which schools allowed you to pay with a credit card without any fees.
Right. Because that was going to be my question, because almost every school that my kids looked at would let you pay with a credit card, but there was a 3.5% fee or something like that.
Not worth it, right?
No, it didn't used to be that way. Everybody just took credit cards, but now. Right. So did you find schools that don't charge a fee?
Yeah, my daughter's school, which is it's like $70,000 a year, some ridiculous amount. The first 2 years, credit cards, no fees, no problem. It was fantastic. And so we just get the third year when she became a junior, that's when they started hitting the fee. So we couldn't do that.
Okay.
My son's school, which is not quite as expensive at UNR, they've never charged a fee.
Okay,
Ever.
so they just have they have yet to adopt that practice.
Someone is going to drill down eventually and say, "Hey guys, you're paying thousands of extras in fees, and you don't have to." But in the meantime, it's allowed me to rack up hundreds of thousands of points.
Oh yeah,
Starwood points or Marriott points, wherever you want to use them. We like to travel, and we travel in a fashion that we would not pay for if we were paying cash.
Yep.
Like fly first class or business. And we like to stay at hotels that we otherwise would not stay at.
You wouldn't pay cash for those hotels.
No, the rooms are not worth it. We're not in the room that much because we're out running around, but it is nice to go back to a huge room and get all these.
Oh yeah, the Marriott suites are wonderful as long as you're not paying cash for them.
Yeah, right. And the concierge stuff is terrific too that comes along with it. So that's just, and I posted that up on Twitter today. It's like, hey, this is something to think about when you have these high dollar purchases. I did the same with our FedEx and UPS bills. At one time, we were paying about $250,000 a month in shipping invoices.
Okay. Yeah.
And the way I would award those accounts, because FedEx, UPS, they would fight and basically match each other.
Sure.
And it just became a service. What was service was better, and they're about the same. So I just say, well, if you can take my credit card, I'll give you the business.
You win. Yeah.
They win. And they would win. And we would switch every year, every 2 years. They would fight and do a little extra, but they always had to take our credit cards. So it allowed us to rack up millions and millions of points that, I sent my mom and 3 of her friends to Europe first class, everything taken care of. And those are wonderful parts of being able to live a charmed life that you otherwise wouldn't pay for. It's pre-tax benefit. The IRS hasn't figured out a way to
I know yet. That's coming too.
So they don't listen to this show, fortunately. So, anyway, I just wanted to point out, you always have to look for opportunities to enhance your life. And when you've got a business and you've got some credit cards we've talked about, if you just go up to businessbrain.show, you can search for credit cards or affinity points. We've done.
I believe our first publicly released episode, which I think was episode 2 or 3. I don't think anybody ever heard episode 1, but I'm pretty sure we talked about the benefits of credit card points on our, because it's something you and I have always bonded over. So yeah,
it's just a game changer. Lots of people say it's not worth it, but if you're managing,
I disagree.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you have the cash flow to pay it off every month, and that's actually you're go and listen to inter statement payments are the key, right? Because you're not going to have $100,000 on your Amex, but if you pay it off every day, you can get that and keep going and going and going until all of a sudden you get somebody calls you that says, "Hey, I'm your rep from Amex.
Yeah, I'm your personal rep." Yeah.
And that's awesome. You're like, "Oh, great. You want to be my rep and I'm going to help you." And so look into that. You've got kids and they're working on that, add it to the spreadsheet that you get them to fill out.
All right, look, it's really easy to lose track of the big picture when you're like stuck in the weeds and opening a new window for every detail that you're trying to manage, right? With our sponsor, Miro, you can bring everything and everyone together in one place. You can consolidate different points of view and increase team collaboration all on one centralized board with Miro. Miro brings a lot of things together in one spot, right? So you have an online whiteboard, a mind mapping tool, a space to just jot down ideas and really just brain dump individually and then also collectively. So we're here at the beginning of the year. One of the things we like to do is, telling the story of our business. And it's good to look back at what happened last year as we're planning for this year, and using Miro to do something like a retrospective for your business to really kind of dissect what happened in the previous year. You can pull all of these things together. And then when you do that, you start to see some trends, you start to see some patterns, and you've got multiple sets of eyes looking at this all at the same time, but different ways. And then next year, when you go and do this same thing, you've got your Miro board from this year to look at, reflect against, right? This is the kind of thing that can really make a difference in seeing the big picture for your business. Of course, you can also use Miro to get into the nitty gritty, like, product planning and road mapping and all of that can all be right here as well. You are going to love this. You got to check it out. Find simplicity in your most complex projects with Miro. Your first 3 Miro boards are free when you sign up today at Miro.com/podcast. That's right. 3 free boards at Miro.com/podcast. And our thanks to Miro for sponsoring this episode. Next up are our friends and our sponsor at Shopify. It's true. Shopify makes life so easy to just get your stuff online for sale right away. I love to tell the story about how we had this business going and we decided we needed to have merchandise that we could sell, hats and mugs and t-shirts and things like that. And we had a meeting one morning where we talked about this and it was decided we were going to do it. And it was obvious that I was in charge of making this happen for this particular venture. And I really didn't have an idea as to what to do. By the end of that day, we had made our first sale on Shopify. And that's because Shopify makes it so easy. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the I didn't even know we were going to be selling things today stage to the we just took our millionth order stage, right? Shopify's there to help you grow. So it doesn't matter whether you're selling merch or shipping supplies or even promoting productivity programs, right? Hey, Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS, wherever and whatever you're selling. Shopify's got you covered, because businesses that grow with Shopify. So sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/businessbrain, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/businessbrain now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/businessbrain. And our thanks to Shopify for sponsoring this episode. All right, Shannon, we promised everybody that we were going to talk about cockroaches and pig's blood. Why is that relevant to us today, though?
So we got a listener email from Robert, and the title was "The Dark Side of eBay." And if you'd listened to the show at all, I've always had one or more businesses on eBay, and eBay's always a great place to A/B test, and I love it. I've done a lot of work with them, done consulting. It's just a great platform, and generally speaking, the people are amazing. Especially today, this is a discussion about a bunch of previous employees and the previous CEO.
Got it. Okay.
And there's if you're in the marketplace business, there is a website and a newsletter called E-commerce Bites. They've been around forever. And they are, especially, eBay went through a time that they were not very, they didn't appreciate sellers. Let's say that the customer,
they were more focused on the people spending the money than the people providing the services that people were spending the money for.
Yeah, correct. And it took a long time for them to kind of get over that, and now it kind of shifted dramatically, and they do some great stuff, and I highly recommend get involved with their team. But they had a CEO at the time that in a group of people that took offense to some criticisms that the husband and wife team that published E-commerce Bites had published in their newsletter, everything. And so according to this that's come out, eBay just paid a $3 million fine for the way they handled this, and a couple of people went to prison for what they did to this couple, and it was a massive threat and harassment campaign. Yeah, we'll link it in the show notes at businessbrain.show. And where I'm going with this, I want to describe it a little bit more because it's fascinating. But how do you keep your employees from partaking
from hitting the microphone while they're talking?
Yeah, that's it. Hey, it's only been 9 years. I'm just learning here.
That's right.
But the CEO, Devin Wenig, I think is his last name, he made the comment and told his team, we need to crush these people. And whether that was an offhand remark or a marching orders that literally we need to destroy them. The team and the folks, they took it to heart, and they really started harassing these people, mailing them things like live cockroaches, live spiders, masks covered with pig blood.
And when did this happen?
So back in 2020, let's see, what is it?
It looks like 2019.
2019.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. Okay.
Devin went in.
So it wasn't that long ago. I mean, I realized the people that did this and the CEO that sort of, I don't want to say, I don't know whether I should say he allowed it to happen, but the CEO under whom this happened is no longer there.
And I've met this guy, and he was
fascinating.
I spoke at a conference with the top 500 eBay executives or whatever back then, and Devin's a very capable guy. He helped turn things around at eBay, but they took things personal. They were commenting on the CEO's salary when eBay was going through a tough time, and so they just it was a group of people in their security department apparently that really just tried to destroy these people. And
wow,
yeah. So my question is, number one,
what a weird thing for a company to do.
Dude, who would you think?
I've been like, I understand the impulse. Right? Like we are heading into political season, which means my phone, and I'm sure your phone, and I don't just mean you, Shannon, I mean everybody who's listening. Our phones are being inundated with spam texts from political candidates. And I mark each one of them, report as spam or whatever. Yeah. Doesn't matter whether it's somebody I would even consider voting for or not. I just, I do it. But it doesn't work. Right. And so I have thought, these are unsolicited political messages. Wouldn't it be great to respond with something terribly offensive in an unsolicited way? And like part of me says, oh yeah, that's the way to get them. But the other part of me is like, if I do that, I'm liable for what I send to people. Like I'm responsible. Whether I'm liable or not is up to the courts to decide. But certainly I am responsible, especially if I know there are other humans on the end of this. So I have not. I just hit the report and block button and I move on with my life.
Smart.
But I get the impulse to go nuts. But you can't act on that, especially when you're a company. Like you can't act on it when you're just Dave and his phone. You especially can't act on it when you're a company.
Publicly traded company.
But even if it's not. But yes, that doesn't help matters. Yeah.
I kind of and lately, I've been really kind of leaning into this thesis that all business problems are leadership failures on some level. And I'm going to keep pushing that because I want to be able to defend it better than I can right now. But I've really started to think about it. We talk about hiring and firing and how it's a failure of management.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. And certainly as the leader of a company of any size, yes, you get frustrated. Yes, you get upset, but you set the tone. If you're even in a joking way ridiculing your customers or talking bad about them or talking smack to your employees about them, your employees, that frames how they view your clients and your customers or people in this case that were just outside review, independent folks, writing about your business. So while you may think that comment is flippant and, funny or something like that, it gets internalized. And
for sure. I had an employee that could have done very, very well here. And on their first day, we were on a call with a vendor that we were thinking about working with, and I made a comment to this vendor because their pricing was just absurd. And I said something, and I'm going to leave the details out of this because I don't want to out this particular employee because they are a fantastic employee, but it was not appropriate. But I set the tone for how we do things here because they were on that call with me. And that defined how things were to the point where it didn't work out because this person was wound up being too rough around the edges. But I know that it wasn't their fault. It was my fault for setting that tone on day one. And
and that happens. So that's really the takeaway here is think about your words, your actions as a leader, whether it's you or your managers, your VPs, your supervisors, however your structure's set up.
Yep.
The way you speak about your customers, and it's super important, very impactful, and it, I mean, obviously this is an extreme case, but that's why I wanted to bring it up because, look out, it went down this road where people just went nuts with it and
Yes.
thought that, the comments from the CEO and, we don't know what really happened or how it went down, of course.
No, but they took they took the comments more literally than
Yes.
ever it needed to happen and perhaps was ever intended.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful when you say things. The other thing that I will never do, I have done it before, but I never do it. And when I find myself even dancing into this area, I stop and apologize. And that is joking about firing people.
Oh, yeah, you got to be careful.
You can't. Because even if everybody knows it's a joke, if you're the one who makes those decisions and signs people's checks, it's not a joke. Somebody's thinking, oh, crap, is it me? Or it sets the tone, even if they're not consciously aware of it. So, yeah, that's another one of those things.
Small business owners don't start out being great leaders. And
I'm still a terrible leader.
Yeah, it's a learned thing. It's
Actually,
not,
I'm a pretty good leader. I'm a terrible manager, and I still maintain that.
Yeah,
there is a difference.
There's a difference.
Yes,
and I think we're going to show about those differences.
Yeah,
and so just take it to heart. Go read this article up at businessbrain.show and tell us your horror stories. Feedback at businessbrain.show. I'd love to, hear about it and how you turn things around. I've got some more stories I could tell, but I'll save them for another show.
Sounds good. Like he said, feedback at businessbrain.show. We definitely love to hear from you. It inspires us. It fuels us. And sometimes it's a topic for the show. Check out our sponsors, shopify.com/businessbrain, Miro.com/podcast, and keep on living that charmed life. We'll see you on Friday. Okay, we're out.
Cool.
Where are we here? 2218. Okay. And 2218. Okay, great. Welcome to the middle of Business Brain. Oh, yeah. I can, for those of you watching, I can do between the episodes.
There we go. Typically, for those watching, we record 2 episodes each week. We broke up our episodes and got tons more engagement. And what's that term? How long they listen to the show. I always forget what that is, but it's
whatever the term is, it means how long they listen to the show.
There you go. That's it. That's what I was looking for. But, so we break these shows up into smaller tidbits, 15, 20 minutes versus 30 minutes to an hour that we used to do a year or so ago. And I think it's gone great.
Driving me crazy. Okay. Sorry. Nope. New version of BB Edit acts a little bit differently than the old one.
Yeah. I'm just impressed that people still use BB Edit. So
it's always open on my computers.
That's great.
Yep.
Old school.
And now it's got a Chat GPT worksheet.
Nice.
Yep. You can do things right inside BB Edit.
Great.
So
I just was working on a website this morning, and it came up a new site that I'm getting involved in, and with a volunteer organization, and they have hundreds of pages. And it came up and said, you don't have any meta descriptions on any pages. Yeah. And then they came up with this AI and said, do you want us to help you? Yes. And so I put in a few things. What do you do? What is this? Da, 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 da.
Yep.
And it went out and did it all. It was just amazing.
That's amazing. Was it Jetpack that did that?
No. It's the website is a service called Duda. D-U-D-A.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's part of their.
They had built it in. Yeah.
WordPress's Jetpack will do some of that. I don't know if it'll go back and do all of it, but
that was great. It was a massive time.
That's huge.
Massive time.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was like, yes, I do want to do this. And then I watched as it filled in, and I changed a few things, but it was like 120 pages that I did not have to fill out meta information for.
That's amazing.
For SEO stuff. So
it's
cool. Very cool.
Miro.com/pod. Okay, there's that. That goes there. This goes here. Oh, why am I not logged in? Speaking of WordPress.
Great.
Yeah, remember me. Please. Don't you forget about me, WordPress.
Okay.
I'm almost there.
All right, great. That sounds good. Yeah. So if you're streaming along, we're going to talk about Dave's trip to the Consumer Electronics Show for our Friday episodes, and then we're going to talk about a banger post by Moses Kagan about impactful email that I thought was right on the money. So we're going to break that down and share it with you so you can see how it can help you reach who you want to talk to.
Okay. I think I'm almost there.
Okay.
Great. Let's do that. Is that still? Well, that's fine. That'll take forever, and that's going to be okay. Oh, now it's actually uploading. Okay, good. Great. I believe I'm ready to roll on the next one. What is... Yeah.
You ready to go?
Okay. I'm ready. Yep. 25. It's going to be the 26 minutes start. 26 minutes or so. All right. Here. Oh, no. We're not between episodes anymore.
Nope.
Oh, and it's not Wednesday. This is going to be Business Brain 517 for Friday the 19th. It's going to be that. Okay, here we go. Business Brain, episode 517 for Friday, Casual Friday, January 19th, 2024. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Casual Friday here on Business Brain. We are the show where we take a topic or three, we discuss them, we cogitate upon them, we dissect them, we analyze them so that we can each tune our business brains every single time we get together. Sponsors for this episode include Miro.com/podcast, where your first 3 Miro boards are free forever, and Shopify.com/businessbrain, where you can sign up for a $1 per month trial period. We'll talk more about each of those in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
In Lafayette, California, I'm Shannon Jean. How you doing, man?
I'm good. We mentioned last episode that I was in Las Vegas last week for CES, formerly known as the Consumer Electronics Show. I don't think it's actually the Consumer Electronics Show anymore. I think it's just
CES.
I think it's just it's just CES. It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken or KFC. Yeah. It used to be Kentucky Fried Chicken. They changed it. I don't know why CES changed it. I think they
easier.
But no, I think it was a branding thing. I think they wanted to. I don't know why they would want to get out of the consumer electronics thing. I think maybe the automotive thing
and
there.
There used to be 2 shows, right? Remember, it was Comdex and the Consumer Electronics Show.
That's right.
We used to go to Comdex because it was all computer stuff, and I was in this business for many, many years.
Steve Wynn was Comdex, right? And then he sold that to the CTA.
And they just kind of shut it down after something. I wonder, what was it? I don't know what year it was. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But so how was it? Was it a productive trip for you? Did you see interesting stuff?
Yes and yes. And I don't know the attendance numbers. They have not released those yet. My guess is they will, though, because it felt like a normal CES this year. Nice. So this is the 3rd year that CES has happened since the COVID lockdowns, right? So CES happened in January of 2020. It did not happen in 2021. It did happen in 2022. I didn't go largely because starting about middle of December, so many companies pulled out of CES that it just wasn't worth my time to go. And the folks that did go said it was like a ghost town. So, but that's not surprising, right? I mean, given everything that was going on.
Sure.
Last year, I did go, and a lot of people went, but it felt roomy, for lack of a better term. It was not crowded. There were people there, and certainly there was plenty of disease floating around. I think I came back with whatever it was, RSV or something that was awful. But it, it was productive and it was fine. This year, it felt packed at times, which is great. Also, a little surprising, although I don't know why I'm surprised, because I am a firm believer in getting together in person with people.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And it's clear I'm not alone in this belief, right? Because we certainly had the opportunity to basically let all conferences and trade shows die. We could have,
terrible.
right?
Yeah.
We did. Well, we did them online, you know, in our own weird ways, and it sucked.
Yep.
But we would have gotten better at that, as we always do, right? You know, we iterate and we improve. But yeah, no, this CES is back.
Yeah, and we've done several episodes on how to maximize your time at trade shows like this. So if you go up to businessbrain.show, there's a way to do it and a bunch of ways not to do it.
Yes.
To make
and
it.
It depends on the show too.
Yeah, that's right. That's
like
right.
you know, some shows if it's small and it's all in one sort of easy to manage expo hall.
Yeah.
You can go in without a plan and probably be productive if you're desiring to be productive.
Yes.
If you go into CES without a plan, it doesn't matter how what your intentions are, you will fail at being productive.
Yeah.
You might,
definitely.
I mean, you might have some beautiful chance meetings. One thing that was interesting, all of my experience up prior to this year at CES steered me away from the show floor. And the reason was that people on the show floor were never happy to talk to press. I would attend in the capacity of press generally for my Mac Geek Gab podcast, right? You know, and Mac Observer when we had it, learning about new products and that sort of thing. And there are press specific events that are absolutely fantastic at CES where it's just for the press and it's like speed dating for the press. It's awesome. The show floor was never that. It was so bad that like you would go up to a booth and be like, hey, you know, I'm here with the, you know, and I would explain like either the website or the podcast. And then people would be like, oh, yeah. And just like basically say, we're not interested. Or even if I did have a meeting with somebody, half the time I'd show up and somebody else at the booth would be like, oh, yeah, well, he's busy talking to Best Buy or Amazon or whatever. Yeah. You can't talk to him now. Yeah. So they're looking for partnerships on the show floor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this year, that was not the case. Every booth, with one exception, every booth that we walked up to was happy to see us, engaged, super like into it. And it's like, oh, this is interesting.
I wonder why that changed.
Yeah, I don't know. My guess is that there are less avenues by which to sell one's products, and getting into Amazon isn't a huge hurdle anymore. It's not like getting shelf space at Best Buy, right? So maybe there's less of that to do. I'm sure there's some of it to do. Don't get me wrong, but perhaps less. I don't know. The one booth that was the notable sort of, I was going to say exception, but they all the rest felt like the exceptions. This was like a blast from the past. Walked up, a guy came up. They had like some shiny like lights and light strips. I wasn't convinced that we were going to get anything valuable out of this anyway. This guy walks up in a jacket and tie or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, thanks for coming. What can I do for you?" Explained what it was, that we did. Like this, we do this podcast 19 years. I've never seen anybody do an about face as fast as this guy did. He said nothing to us and just walked away.
Wow. Not
Not
a customer.
Not a customer. Right. Exactly. Not a customer. I'm done. It was weird. But it was productive. Yeah.
That's cool. That's great. So if you want our take on why trade shows are important and events like this, conferences, and how to get the best out of them, we'll put a link in the show notes at businessbrain.show, or you can go up there and just search for trade show or conference. You'll find it.
All right. Look, it's really easy to lose track of the big picture when you're like stuck in the weeds and opening a new window for every detail that you're trying to manage, right? With our sponsor, Miro, you can bring everything and everyone together in one place. You can consolidate different points of view and increase team collaboration all on one centralized board with Miro. Miro brings a lot of things together in one spot, right? So you have an online whiteboard, a mind mapping tool, a space to just jot down ideas and really just brain dump individually and then also collectively. So we're here at the beginning of the year. One of the things we like to do is, telling the story of our business. And it's good to look back at what happened last year as we're planning for this year And using Miro to do something like a retrospective for your business to really kind of dissect what happened in the previous year, you can pull all of these things together. And then when you do that, you start to see some trends, you start to see some patterns, and you've got multiple sets of eyes looking at this all at the same time, but different ways. And then next year, when you go and do this same thing, you've got your Miro board from this year to look at, reflect against, right? This is the kind of thing that can really make a difference in seeing the big picture for your business. Of course, you can also use Miro to get into the nitty gritty, like, product planning and road mapping and all of that can all be right here as well. You are going to love this. You got to check it out. Find simplicity in your most complex projects with Miro. Your first 3 Miro boards are free when you sign up today at Miro.com/podcast. That's right. 3 free boards at Miro.com/podcast. And our thanks to Miro for sponsoring this episode. Next up are our friends and our sponsor at Shopify. It's true. Shopify makes life so easy to just get your stuff online for sale right away. I love to tell the story about how we had this business going and we decided we needed to have merchandise that we could sell, hats and mugs and t-shirts and things like that. And we had a meeting one morning where we talked about this and it was decided we were going to do it. And it was obvious that I was in charge of making this happen for this particular venture. And I really didn't have an idea as to what to do. By the end of that day, we had made our first sale on Shopify. And that's because Shopify makes it so easy. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the, I didn't even know we were going to be selling things today stage to the, we just took our millionth order stage, right? Shopify's there to help you grow. So it doesn't matter whether you're selling merch or shipping supplies or even promoting productivity programs, right? Hey, Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered, because businesses that grow with Shopify. So sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/businessbrain, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/businessbrain now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/businessbrain, and our thanks to Shopify for sponsoring this episode. Hey, Shannon, I want to call an audible here. I need some business therapy. This might be quick, and we might get to the thing about emails, and we might not. Okay, the general premise is, what do you do when one of your customers is wrong about your business? And I'll explain. But the customer's always right, except when they are objectively incorrect. Correct. So I have, we work with ad agencies all the time for our Backbeat Media business, where we're like the sponsors that you just heard us talk about. And most of those come through relationships with ad agencies. And so we have spreadsheets that we've filled out for these like preferred agencies that we work with, where they have all the details on our shows and they can like look things up without sort of without there having to be a back and forth, just to make life efficient. We send them all this data. And then they sometimes take the data right from the spreadsheets that we share. We often use Google Docs, believe it or not. And it's great because I can keep it up to date, or we can keep it up to date, and they see it and it all auto reflects. And then sometimes they copy it into their own internal systems, whatever those might be. All of this makes perfect sense. Over the last 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, I have been getting emails from people saying, hey, we would love to include this show on our plan. And it's a show that we have represented for years and they've bought for years, but the CPM seems really high. The CPM being the cost per 1,000 downloads. Okay. And all of that is totally fine and totally normal. Where the problem comes in is they have their calculation in their spreadsheet is wrong. And it's not just for one show. It's for all of our shows. Wow. They'll show me. And like, I just got an email today. They're saying, oh, there's this $92 CPM, which is pretty high for podcasts. This particular show actually sells in that range because it's a business show and that's how that works. Most other shows are in the $25 to $35 range. And that was that's true of the one that they were talking about. And they're like, we'd love to buy this one show, but it's a $92 CPM. That's way too high. Can you bring it down? And I look, and it's $550 for 18,000 downloads. That's a $30.56 CPM, not a $92 CPM. And this has been happening with clearly a lot of our shows. And every time I tell them, hey, I think the calculation you have in your spreadsheet might be wrong.
Same same age, same client.
Same.
Time?
It's only one agency with which this is happening. And so like every time I'm able to deliver them good news. They're like, could we get it down to in this case, they asked, could we get it down to 30? And it's like, yes, it's all, but it's important. Every time I have pointed out that, look, it's already at 30 because I know for every one email that I get asking if we can bring a CPM down, there's 5 campaigns that are being passed by because they're like, oh, there's no way we can get this CPM down.
So where my first question is, have you asked them where they're pulling the data from?
I have. Yeah, they're like, oh, it's our internal system. We need to look at it. But they haven't looked at it. And things are crazy this time of year. That you know, there's lots going on and no one has time to go and like clean up the internal stuff. But it's a big problem. Yeah, and I think it's a bigger problem for me than it is for them.
Yeah, it is. I think that's number one, the way to look at it. It's not their problem.
No,
your problem.
It's my problem.
So how do you educate them or help them? Can you offer to help fix their system?
I think this is why I wanted to do business therapy.
Can you go in and say, hey, look, I get these, you know, we maybe you can anonymize some of the other agencies you work with and say, look, these folks are using our data, or
I don't even have to anonymize. The industry's small enough that everybody knows everybody. It's totally fine.
So you can say, look, we're selling these to these agencies here. This is the numbers that we're working with. It's very straightforward and common. I think your data is the outlier, and I'd love to work with you because we value your relationship.
Absolutely.
And we can we work together to come up with, I know things.
How can I help?
Yeah.
Right?
How can I help? That's it. My favorite.
That's it.
You know, how can I help to overcome that, you know, these obstacles that we're hitting every time, because it's, you know, underrepresenting what you're getting for your money.
Yeah.
And we're all about adding value and offering value. How do we figure this out together? You got to get on the same side of the table with them.
Yes.
That's because in the beginning you're saying, well, not saying that, but hey, the customer's wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah. And I thought that just mentioned this is like the 7th or 8th time that it's happened. I thought the first couple of times, like when it first happened, it was like, well, there's mistakes. Like, that's fine. I'm like, but let me correct these for you. It's all good. And they were like, oh, thank you. But I don't think they realize they have a systemic problem. I realize they have a systemic problem, but I don't think they do. And that's how I need to tell them that in a productive way.
And I guess then my next question is, who do you talk to? Is it the sale? I don't know who interacts with you.
The buyer. There's a team of buyers, and then there's a person who manages the relationship.
Do you know anybody else further up the chain?
Oh yeah,
back. That is probably the person you maybe. Hey, I'm here hitting these. Because
it's not just one buyer, right?
Yeah. So can we schedule a call so we could talk about how we get on the same page? Because obviously they want to be on the shows you're representing.
Correct. Oh, they're going out of their way, which I'm super thankful for.
Yeah, it's mutually beneficial. But the underlying problem is that someone to just look, if you're not on the phone with them or get a chance to rebut that data, they're just going to go, that's too much. Let's go somewhere else.
It's too much, and it's a pass.
Yeah, it's a pass.
The fact that there have been 7 or 8 instances in the last 3 or 4 weeks where they've come to me about this, not knowing what the issue is, but just asking to lower the rates, is a testament to the relationship that we've built.
Yeah, that they're calling you. That's right. So if you can go to somebody, I don't mean you want to go around them.
No, but I need to go to the person that can solve the problem for everyone, not the individual. Correct. Yes.
You got it. And if you can have that conversation, it's like, look, I'm looking at this, and you know, we want to work together. Your buyers want to work with us. Yeah. We want to make this work. We want you on our shows. can we sit down and look at this data and figure out where the disconnect is?
Yeah.
That's the way
it.
I'd handle it.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and I don't need to call anyone out because there's
No.
well,
Oh, no,
there
nobody's doing
probably
anything.
somebody made a mistake, but I
Yeah.
don't care who that was. It doesn't
and
matter.
I would phrase it as, look, there's some kind of data pipe that's broken here.
That's it. Yep.
And I want to be the plumber. I want to come in and help you reconnect that pipe so we're both using the same set of data.
My guess is a column has shifted in their
probably.
spreadsheet, and so I guess the first thing to do is for me to look at the things that we share with them and make sure I didn't actually cause this, because maybe I did.
That's good. Yeah. And then
and if I did, that's great. I can go to them and say, I made a mistake.
Yeah. That's
right.
That's easy. Take it. I mean, I'm a big fan of like ultra accountability.
Same.
I would rather, because sometimes even if you take the blame, even if you're not sure it's your fault, it opens the door to that conversation of, you're like, hey, I want to be sure we haven't screwed up. Can we get on a call about this? Versus, hey, you guys are screwed up and you need to come talk to me. But you're taking ownership. It puts them at ease to the point where they oftentimes are like, no. Your stuff's fine. Let's figure this
is
out.
our fault. Right.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Yeah.
So
I don't
it's a jujitsu type of accountability, you need to use. That's very, very important. And getting them on the same side of the table. I think that's the
thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I have them on the same side of the table. Like this, cool. but this isn't a problem that's going to fix itself, which is what I initially thought. I thought they'll realize these numbers don't make any sense. Well, I'm someone who, when I look at numbers, I see calculations fairly readily. I don't want to say I'm some savant or anything, but I calculate numbers in my head all the time. Not everyone does.
Yeah,
if I look at, $550 times or divided by 18, I know that that's not 92. Yeah, I know that's closer to 30.
Yeah.
Not everybody sees that, and so it's not a glaring error to many folks. Certainly not these folks. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would use those techniques, but the last thing I would tell you is implement this business therapy, these action items that we've talked about, and come back and tell us how it went.
I absolutely will. No, it's what I'm going to do as soon as we finish recording this episode.
Yeah, and if you have tips for Dave in this segment of business therapy, feedback at businessbrain.show. And don't miss next Tuesday's show, because we're going to talk about
next Wednesday, but that's okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I'll be here on Tuesday, but
we're going to record it on Tuesday. That's right. Yeah.
You won't be here
could watch our live streams though.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we really even haven't talked about that. We live stream every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Yeah, around there. 1:15, 4 p.m., 4:15 Eastern. We push it out to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, so you can see us in action. So, cool,
amazing. Thanks, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for spending your time with us. We know that time is your most precious asset. Thanks for checking out our sponsors, Miro.com/podcast, Shopify.com/businessbrain. Go and check both of those out. Feedback at businessbrain.show if you have any thoughts for us or advice for me. Have a great weekend and keep on living that charmed life. See you next week. Sweet. Awesome. We're out. Yeah, that email literally came in.
That's cool.
That's good. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. We got one last viewer, probably my wife or one of my kids. So I'm going to say goodbye and end it right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
See you guys. Talk to you
later.
Next week.